What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? I know this is kind of a last-minute episode of BSing Sports. Here we have a full house, and none of which consists of Bills. So it's just Tim and I running the show, I guess, along with our, partner at Talking 215, Jake. How's it going, Jake?
Oh, man, it was a great weekend for Philadelphia sports, so it's a great weekend for me.
And Logan, who is going to give us the Cardinals' perspective on things. What's going on, Logan?
Hold on, let me drink another swig of my Budweiser.
Thought you only could drink Busch. I mean, you guys got Busch Stadium. And it was funny. I was actually drinking Busch all last night.
Busch is the third tier, but from St. Louis, so we try not to like that too much.
That's awesome. We're here to talk about the Phillies recap. We're going to get both perspectives of it. I'm going to try and stay out of it as much as I can because I'm going to, do a B tier version of Logan's storm off that he had the other day. So I don't want to look like a copycat. I'm going to start with our guests first. Jake, how did the wild card round look to you?
I mean, anytime you sweep around, you're going to be pretty happy, but you can't walk away just thinking, man, we are set, we are rolling, we're good to go. When you win a series with a combined total of 9 hits through both games combined, you're very happy with what you saw out of the starting rotation and out of the bullpen. But these bats, they've really got to come alive. Minus a game against the Nationals here and a random opponent there over the past 6 weeks, these bats have been pretty dead. And so definitely loved what I saw out of the pitching staff, where also in that month and a half stretch, you saw a lot of times where that bullpen and that starting rotation was just killing you, just getting shelled left and right. So to put up a 3 spot in the first game and then to blank them in the second definitely builds some confidence. And maybe there's something with Harper that you can build off of heading into the next round. But overall, you got to be ecstatic. You're going to have playoff baseball in Philadelphia here on Friday.
Absolutely. We're going to go to the opposite side of the coin. Logan down there, what'd you see from the wild card round?
Look, I mean, Zach Wheeler and Aaron Nola, I mean, obviously the Cardinals didn't help. I mean, they did help their image, but I mean, they are just on another level right now. And I forget how great of a pitcher Aaron Nola is, and he's having a really good season. I mean, the Braves, I mean, they're a really good team, but they're going to have their hands full with this pitching staff. So, yeah. I mean, I do want to ask, like, Bryce Harper had a home run yesterday. Does that kind of excite you a little bit for the next series, or does that just say, okay, I mean, the offense still sucks right now. So
I'm going to touch on that in depth, so I'll let everybody else answer first. Tim, go ahead and answer that question first. Bryce Harper hitting a home run, first pitch, first at bat. Does it excite you?
Oh, man, it tells me a whole lot of things. And Vaughn, you mentioned yesterday when he hit that single trying to turn into a double.
I'll talk about what I mentioned.
I'll let that go. But it looked like he was looking for the curveball right off the first pitch, and he did not miss it. He looked at it the whole way and saw it out the pitcher's hand, and he took it 435 yards, 435 feet.
Wrong Cardinals, buddy.
He took it 1,300 feet.
Yeah, he did not miss it, and it gives me confidence that he's going to get swing back.
Jake, you excited about that?
I mean, ever since he's come back from injury, he's been pretty terrible at the plate. You have a few good hits here or there. He started off his first at bat coming back from the injury list, and he had I think it was an RBI single. I think they scored 2 runs, bases loaded. He gave them their first bases loaded no out hits of the season. So it was pretty fitting, and we were all pretty excited now. Bryce Harper's back and everything. And then he went on to bat 198 the rest of the season after that. And so you were really pretty down on him. And really that whole first 5 of the order in general been pretty down on. And outside of Harper, I still am pretty down on him. Real Muto's, he's hitting swinging the bat all right. But Harper, it seemed like he kind of found a little bit of a groove there up against some tough pitching, was able to just mash a home run And you're talking about 435 yards. I mean, if it was a true moonshot, it's pretty much where it was going because that thing is out. The only park that's holding that is old Yellowstone. That thing was a moonshot. And so to see that and then to see him hit a clutch single was very encouraging. He had some solid at bats, one of the lone bright spots in the earliest part of that lineup. So to quote a lot of people, don't let the Phils get hot and don't let Harper get hot. If he finds his groove, that could be a huge swing.
Yeah, I would like to say, confirm that he has found his groove, and based on the way that he played in game 2, he has. But to me, that whole one pitch at bat was confusing as hell because you've got Bryce Harper up there not even hitting his body weight, and you throw him a first pitch curveball that starts as a strike, ends as a strike, which is the worst possible pitch that you can throw in baseball. Why did you not attack him with a fastball? Like, I'm just going to provide a little bit of realism here. You got a guy hitting not even over the Mendoza line. You need to attack him with first pitch fastballs. And I can see Logan putting his face in his hands because he agrees with me. What are you doing? Now, I am glad that Harper was all over that thing like a fat man on pancakes because that is exactly what he needed to do with that pitch. Started at the letters, finished mid-thighs, and he hit it 485 yards or whatever Timmy just said. However many total yards of offense the Eagles just had today, that's how far he hit it. That's fantastic. But that was a terrible pitch. Like, let's be honest. That was just a horrible pitch selection. It was an even worse location. So, Logan, I'll let you finish up on it, but I'm sure you feel the same way I do.
Yeah, I told Ryan, I was like, I'm not watching this game. I said the series was over in the 9th inning when they pitched around Bryce Harper. So 2 things I want to say. First thing is on Friday, I got mad because they pitched around Bryce Harper. And then the second thing is, why are you throwing in the middle like a curveball right down the middle where like that just falls right down the middle? And I just don't understand. And I'm sure Yachty was behind the plate and he was being a fucking asshole like he always is. And also one other note I should say is I've been saying since about 2019, the Cardinals are going to regret not getting JT Realmuto to replace Yadier Molina. And look at that. JT Realmuto is in the NLDS, and Yadier Molina is sticking his thumb up his ass like another jackass that he is. Oh, I hate you so much, Yadier Molina. You fucking asshole. I hope that you come back to St. Louis and you get a bottle hit at your head. I'm sorry. I don't feel that way, but I also do feel that way. So fuck you, Yadier Molina. I'm fine. We're fine.
Dude, I love having you. I love having you on my show. And that's like, I mean, I'm sure a lot of Cardinals fans feel that way at this point. At us as Phillies fans, all we hear about is how good Yachty is, how good he is managing the pitching staff, how good he is at calling his own game. And to sit on the show with Logan last night and to hear the complete opposite, I can't imagine that he's alone as a Cardinals fan. So
I am.
So
how good he is at initiating delay tactics to make sure that the clouds move to get the shadows back.
This is the thing with Yachty. Yachty thinks he is so great, and maybe he doesn't, but this is what it looks like to me. Because honestly, I feel like I am the only unbiased Cardinals fan there is. I expect winning tradition from this team, and no one else. Everyone else is just like, oh, Yachty got a 703 home runs in his career, and Yachty caught 2,000 games, and they're like, oh, we're so happy to have these 2 iconic guys in our team. And then it's just like, no, I expect to win. I'm sorry, I don't know what you guys are doing, but I expect to win. I don't want to have a Hallmark Channel ending here. Like, oh, at least we have each other at the end of the day. And so Yachty just like not trusting his pitchers. He acts like his pitchers are the single worst pitchers of all time. And he is like, oh, well, I guess I got to walk them through how to pitch. And then whenever they throw a good game, like a couple weeks ago, Jordan Montgomery threw a one-hitter it was a Maddox against the Cubs. And guess what? about 5 minutes, they were talking about how great Jordan Montgomery was. And then after that, it was all, oh, you know how Yachty just told him to throw the fastball more. And, you know, Yachty really talked him through how to pitch. Really? Jordan Montgomery did not know how to pitch before he met Yadier Molina, by the way. Like, so let me tell you, if Roy Halladay had met Yadier Molina, he would have been like the greatest pitcher of all time. Like, I mean, I don't know what you guys are thinking. Yadier Molina is the greatest pitcher of all time.
You think he might take a job as a pitching coach?
I hope Yadier Molina goes to Puerto Rico and never comes back. I hope they take his visa away, honestly. I hope he comes back in 50 years when he's an old, saggy man and then tries to make a comeback, and then they beam him in the head.
Well, Puerto Rico is a United States, owned country, so you don't need a visa.
You know what? Nope, I don't care. I want him to have. He's the only one from Puerto Rico who needs to have a visa.
So yesterday I was
list.
texting Ryan and my dad and Bill about Yachty, and then Ryan sent me the video, tagged me in your video load, and I said watch on 45 minutes on, and ever since I watched your video, I was like, oh my goodness, he's 1,000% correct. Like I can't believe it, and I dumbfounded me. Like I always thought Yachty was like a great catcher, like great ball game, calling games and everything. And then you said that yesterday. I watched it yesterday and thought back about Bryce Harper with the bat the night before and going on throughout the game yesterday. I'm like, wow, he's 1,000% on the dot with it.
Oh yeah, and the thing is St. Louis Cardinals fans, they just like the fact that Yachty, like Yachty, he does nothing wrong in their eyes, and then he goes to Puerto Rico, and like on a weekend during the season and says he's injured, and he said for business reasons, that's what it was, and he goes and celebrates a Puerto Rican championship of the NBA, not the NBA, some basketball team that he owns. But still, and I'm like, you see his batting stats this season. He definitely has not given his all to it. There was a good 3 months where every bat he had, and I'm sorry, I'm hogging the show with Yadier Molina talk, Ryan, but still, I'm just going to say this. Like, he would just swing at the first pitch, and he wouldn't even try. He would just swing it, and it would be right towards the second baser. Right toward the first shortstop.
It's okay. We watched that for the whole month of September with 1 through 9, so we'll get into that in a second. But
yeah, and it's just, oh my gosh, my dog is freaking out. It's just bullshit, and it honestly it drives me insane. And honestly, I texted Ryan this. I said the silver lining here is I don't have to listen to Yadier Molina fans who just stick their hands in the sand no matter what. Because my co-host, Josh, I love him to death, but he has this thing with Yadier Molina. He's like, he's given us 17 years of his career, and he deserves, no matter what, to to be catching when he's only caught like 70 games this year. And I'm like, dude, no, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. And he was a wasted space. And he honestly, and you see like the turn from the 8th inning on, when Ryan Helsley was pitching in the 8th inning, he was lights out. And then the 9th inning, JT Realmuto gets a single. And all of a sudden, Yadier Molina changes up the entire game plan right there. And
wait, so he wasn't injured? What? I thought that all was because he was hurt. Oh man, that changes.
Well, Ryan,
everything.
Well, Ryan Helsley was injured. I think he. I will say I think he was
an 80-year-old woman with arthritis of the fingers. Get out of here.
No,
his fingers are cramping.
He has
stop.
He has been nursing a line drive. They got like
nursing a bruised vulva.
But then why was he throwing 90, 98 down the middle, like nonstop?
He got a yeast infection. Like, come on.
It does seem weird.
Let's talk about the pitching on the other side real quick. Aaron Nola obviously, sealed the deal. And historically, Phillies fans in September have had to dreadfully watch Aaron Nola go out there every fifth day and just absolutely get shelled because he was dog shit in September for the better part of his life. And then October rolls around, and who knows, who even would have thought that he'd turn into, Cincinnati Reds Roy Halladay, like where he's just out here throwing, 3-hit shutouts and all kinds of craziness. So, Jake, I know you were a big advocate of Roy Halladay's performance, so I'll start with you. Or not Roy Halladay's, Aaron Nola's performance. Let's go ahead and start with you. I mean, I was a big advocate of Roy Halladay's performance.
I felt like I was playing Dig Dug out there watching some masterful tunneling. This guy was just his cutter, his fastball, and his changeup for the first 30 to 40 feet were identical. And then you just saw all three of them move in different directions. And then with on top of that, you mix in a curveball that starts when it's on, it feels like it starts behind the batter and just comes in front door on a righty, back door on a lefty. And he's just able to paint that left side of the plate corner just so beautifully when he's really feeling it. And like you said, in October, he has been feeling it. And then I want to touch back on when you were saying with Bryce Harper getting a curveball right down the dick to start his at bat and them being a little bit afraid to throw at him. The biggest thing is, Ryan, we talked about it on my show last night. We have the soon to be and deservedly MVP Paul Goldschmidt up, and Aaron Nola did not hesitate to throw a 94-mile-per-hour fastball right down the chute at him. And it looked like he was sitting it, and he wasn't even in the same zip code as it. His bat was like a flat Stanley getting shipped all around the country, not even close to that ball. And you just gotta love it. You're looking at a guy, and you have Real Muto, you have Noel on the same page of saying, hey, him and Arenado are combined 1 for 15 in this series. I guess at that point, it was 1 for 13. It inevitably turned into 1 for 15 with 8 Ks. Again, at that point, it probably was 6 Ks. They ended up striking out the next 2. Either way, they realize, hey, these guys aren't hitting the broadside of a barn door. Throw him your best stuff. Make him beat you. Pitch to contact. Best thing he's going to do is roll one over. They had no fear in facing these guys whatsoever. And you heard me say it. I wasn't too pleased with the fact that they pulled Nola what he did, even though he gave up that hit. His velocity and his spin rate and really his location were pretty much identical to what you were seeing in the first 3 innings. So I would have really liked to see him get out of that tail end of the order. I wasn't too afraid of that part of the order there. But you bring in Alvarado. He does a fine job sweeping up the rest of that inning. But no, Nola just in his first postseason start was just masterful.
And Tim, I'll get to you in a minute. I apologize for neglecting you. Obviously, you're a co-host here. What Jake means by tunneling pitches, so I have this baseball here, and I used to pitch back in the day, so I can explain this. What you do as a pitcher, if you can see these laces, is you build off the fastball, right? And your right-handed fastball looks a lot like this. So the spin coming out of your hand is going to look like this in this motion. What Nola was doing was he was holding his changeup like this, so the spin would come out exactly the same, but it's about 8 miles an hour slower. And what you're doing as a hitter is you're recognizing the spin of fastball, but you're anticipating 94 and it's at 86. That's why you miss that. And it has a lot of sink and dive.
Same thing changes up on you. That's why
same thing with the cutter. You throw a fastball like this, you throw a cutter like this. What it does is it spins slightly on an axis, but in the same angle, and it cuts the last 20 feet. So in those 3 pitches, you are reading fastball as a hitter the first 20 feet, and you are reading it as a strike, which is your responsibility as a hitter. That's when you start your swing, you pick up your foot, you put it down, whatever your motion is, and then in the last 20 feet, that's when it dives. That's when you realize it's 10 miles an hour slower. That's when you realize it sinks. That's when you realize it's not a fastball. And to go as far as that, Nola throws his curveball spiked like this on the lace. And what he was doing last night was one of 2 things. He was either starting it in the zone, where in the first 20 feet, the hitter would recognize that it was a strike. They would get their swing ready and then find out in the last 20 feet that it was, in fact, not a strike. Or he would start it out of the zone. The hitter's eye is now seeing it that it is a ball. He has given up on that pitch, and in fact, it is coming back over the plate for a strike. opposite of what Harper saw in his first at-bat, where he sees the curveball as a strike. It finishes as a strike. And that's what I touched on Twitter last night with Rhys Hoskins. When a breaking ball is always in the zone, you have to do something with it. And we will get into Rhys Hoskins right now because he was horrendous in the 2-hole. If you see a slider that starts away on the corner and finishes middle in, you have to do damage with that pitch. Or middle in and finishes away. If it's always in the zone, if you see a pitch constantly as a strike, as a major league hitter, you have to do something with it. So Tim, what is going on with Rhys Hoskins right now?
I think it's just nerves, man. He had never played in a playoff game yet. And he has these big up and down slumps that you see all the time throughout his career. And I think comes the next. I think when he gets to Atlanta tonight or tomorrow morning, he needs to go take batting practice for 5 hours straight and figure it out. The whole offense needs to go.
You swing until your arms fall off.
They got to do something. Like, you can't have 8 hits in 2 games and put up 8 runs. Yeah, okay, that was nice. It was more than 8. I'm sorry. It's 9, but
some of his at bats were pathetic too. I mean, they
were all pathetic. They were the best at bat he got. He saw 7 pitches. Mm-hmm. So it's like his most productive at bat was getting a slightly longer than average pitch count for the at bat. And he had multiple strikeouts. He had no balls that ended up advancing the runner. He was up to the plate with many clutch opportunities to score a run with 2 outs, and he was just completely useless. He was unproductive in all 9 of his at-bats. If he is in the 2-hole, Phillies have no intention of winning the series. He needs to be at the very end of the order until he shows any kind of sign of life. And with that, I am sorry, but I do have to go. Thank you so much for having me on, gentlemen. I'm looking forward to tuning into the rest of it.
Plug yourself up, Jake.
Hoskins needs to get out of here. We're going to be at game 3 at Citizens Bank Park, hoping to do a tailgate live show. So if you're going to the game, definitely come on over. Usually go over to the K lot. I got a little cover in case of inclement weather. But you can check us out. You see it there at Talking 205, Talking Without a G, a part of the phenomenal BSing Sports Network. Obviously, you all know the great job that they all do over at BSing Sports. You can find them at bsingsports.com. Got it bookmarked on my browser. Recommend you to do the same. Stay up to date with all of their episodes and check us out. Talking 215. We are actually updating our website this week as well, talking215.com. But no, thank you so much for having me on, Logan. I apologize. I don't really apologize. Screw the Cardinals. I'm sorry that you feel this way. I know how you feel. We have felt this way for many, 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 many years, and I'm about 6 many's too short. But no, it sucks. Doesn't feel good. Enjoy playing golf.
Honestly, screw the Cardinals too. This is the silver lining I always have is, look, the Cardinals are out. Now I actually get to enjoy the playoffs. Right now, I like the Phillies, obviously. I mean, Bryce Harper, Rhys Hoskins is a very underrated player in my book. JT Realmuto, the best catcher in the game. But I don't like the Phillies right now. So, yeah. Good job, Phillies. But also,
just a quick update: the Padres are now leading the Mets 3-0.
And as I predicted, and Jake predicted a long time ago, the Mets are going to Met. Thank you for coming on, Jake, for as long as you possibly could. Always love your input here on BSing Sports. Have a good night, sir, and we will talk to you very soon.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna find that guy that gave me shit for saying the Mets are going to Met, and I'm just gonna rub his face right in it because we all saw this coming. Go Birds, go Phils. Red October.
Bad weekend to be a Cardinal.
The Eagles. Yeah, that's right.
Tough
I was
weekend.
like, go Birds.
To be a Cardinal.
Yeah.
Bad weekend to be a Cardinal. Let's talk about some actual baseball. Let's talk about some irony here for a second, okay? Because there were 2 very ironic things that stuck out to me in Game 2s yesterday. First things first, right? You've got Corey Kluber, 2-time Cy Young Award winner, former absolute ace, most dominant pitcher in the AL on the mound for the Tampa Rays. And he serves up the series losing homer to a player that used to play on the team that he pitched for, that he won those Cy Young Awards for with the Guardians now, but they were the Indians back then. So Corey Kluber serves up the series losing homer for the Rays against the team that he used to pitch for. And then Edmundo Sosa makes the final out for the Phillies against the team that he played for up until the trade deadline. Baseball is a funny sport sometimes. So that being said, we're gonna move kind of into the next round, Logan. I know you're probably tired of talking about the Cardinals. You've said enough about Yadier Molina. You're ready to just enjoy some baseball. So assuming that the Padres take care of business and destroy the Mets because they're terrible in the postseason and just in September as a whole, what do you expect to see from the next round?
Padres versus Dodgers, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. As much as I want to hype the Padres up, the Dodgers they always know how to play the Padres. No matter what happens, they get swept by the Pirates, they're going to sweep the Padres. It doesn't matter. No matter how great the Padres look right now, I think the Dodgers are going to Dodger, and they're going to smash them. They have, Musgrove pitch tonight, so I don't think Darvish is going to be ready until game 2, maybe. So I think the Dodgers are going to sweep in 3 games, and it's going to look easy. It's going to be a massacre for Padres fans, and I don't have an answer for how they can fix that. Honestly, they have one of the best players of all this generation, maybe this generation, in Juan Soto. Fernando
I
Tatis
hate
is out.
Juan Soto, but let's move on from that.
I love Juan Soto. Manny Machado, who's a top 3 MVP. The other 2 are Cardinals, and you guys destroyed them, so whatever. And then they have, Trent Grisham and Jerickson Jake Cronenworth and Jerickson Profar, who's been pretty hot lately. But I mean, it doesn't matter because the Dodgers have Freddie Freeman, Trey Turner, who's my favorite player in the game right now, and Mookie Betts.
I love this slide.
Despite going on Jimmy Fallon, Mookie Betts is still considered one of the best players in this series. And Logan, I'll let you reiterate on that in a second. Tim, what do you expect from Padres Dodgers, assuming that the Padres take care of business here?
The first 2 games is in LA, and I think the Dodgers and Pirates are going to split. It's going to be a close game. You got Clayton Kershaw pitching first game, and it's going to be a shutout game for him, in my opinion. 7 innings, not the whole game. I'm sorry, not 7 innings, and get off a couple hits, but no runs scored. And bullpen for the Dodgers when they get it going and start them out the rest of the game. But I think game 2 is when the Pirates really awake. And they have their ace, like Logan said. I don't remember his name, unfortunately.
Darvish.
Thank you. They're going to have their ace on the mount. And I think he's going to go 6-7 innings scoreless. And the Pirates are going to give him some run support. And I think they're going to split there, and the Padres going to win on Friday and lose on Saturday, most probably. And then go back in Dodgers and win. And the Dodgers going to win in 5.
Dodgers sweep. I just think that they have their number personally. I mean, they owned that regular season series. I think at worst this goes 4 games. And this is a team we're talking about has been in the postseason year after year after year after year. They have so much postseason experience on their roster. It's not even funny.
Honestly, the regular season at this point is just a preseason for them. So.
Yeah, it really is. And, it's just I don't think maybe the Padres win a game by accident, in all honesty. But I just think that the Dodgers truly dominate this series. I think it's not even close. Let's get to the other NL series. We've got the Braves and the Phillies. Logan, let's get a non-biased opinion here. What do you think is going to happen in the Phillies-Braves game? Or not game, but series. Them beers are hitting real hard.
Yeah, right. Look, the Phillies obviously won. They swept the Cardinals. Good for them. The pitching is honestly a lot better than I thought they would be. But look, I love you guys, but the Braves are just on another level. They are a very complete team.
I'm
Their
offended.
rookies. Their rookies are basically MVP candidates already. Michael Harris too is a really good player. It turns out. Spencer Strider is looking like he's Cy Young. This pitching staff alone is really great, and the way that the offense of the Phillies appeared against the mediocre Cardinals, and I will say that very not happily. The Braves are going to railroad them, and I think it's going to be Braves in 4, honestly.
Okay. I mean, that's why we brought you on the show for a non-biased opinion. I could see it happening. It's as much as it pains me to say as a Phillies fan, it's in the realm of possibilities that happens. I mean, we've seen this Braves team just last year win a World Series, and nobody was expecting them to do anything. So that's definitely in the realm of possibilities that the Phillies just get swept right out of the DS, and that's. You know, as Phillies fans, we just got to understand that at least we made it that far. Tim, do you have a different prediction?
Oh man, it's hard. I think from what Jake said last night, they might be able to squeak out a game in Atlanta. But I think Atlanta wins it in 5 still, either way. It's going to be a good series. I think, I get Atlanta in 5. I got nothing else to say. I hate to say it, but it is what it is.
So here's my thing about the scheme of playoff baseball, right? You look at the one common theme in playoff baseball, and it's still holding true even in Game 3 versus the Padres and the Mets, and the whole thing is about momentum, right? You look at the Mariners and the Blue Jays, right? The Mariners came in scorching hot in the playoffs, and they absolutely dusted the Blue Jays in the Rogers Center. I know it's not called the Rogers Center anymore. I don't remember what it's called. And quite frankly, it doesn't matter because there won't be another game played there until 2023. So sorry, Blue Jays, you guys sucked. You were a bunch of frauds anyway who got the benefit of playing incomplete teams at home for most of the year. Go screw yourselves. Anyway, Sorry, the Blue Jays just really aggravated me making the playoffs.
But
Anyway.
they're the movie. Last year was the trailer. This year's the movie.
But
short movie.
Yeah, real short movie. Anyway, the whole thing is about momentum. So when you look at the Phillies, right, they did not have a whole lot of momentum. And quite frankly, neither did the Cardinals. That was a battle of like which team maybe had a little bit of momentum on their side, right? So now the Phillies have built up a little bit more, winning 2 games there. The Braves were scorching hot in September. And now by the time game 1 pitches, they wouldn't have played a baseball game in a week. That's a long time when you have momentum on your side to just sit around and twiddle your thumbs. It is a very likely possibility that, and I'm predicting Aaron Nola does this for a specific reason I'll get into in a few seconds, that the Phillies steal a game in Atlanta, and that absolutely will change the complex of the series. Aaron Nola has a sub-2 ERA on the road this year, and he has absolutely torched the Braves since they moved to Truist SunTrust Park, whatever that new stadium is. Ever since that new stadium has been built, Nola has absolutely dominated the Braves lineup top to bottom. So it is a very realistic possibility here that the Phillies steal a game in Atlanta. Now, game 3 is going to be the biggest question for me. It still sounds like that the Phillies are committed to going with Ranger Suarez, which is a huge fucking mistake in my opinion, because Bailey Falter is very obviously the best pitcher on the Phillies roster in the last 6 weeks of the season. So he needs to be starting game 3. And this is all built around the fact that Wheeler and Nola go on 3 days rest, which has to be an absolute necessity for the Phillies to do anything in the postseason. If, Jake alluded to, if Rhys Hoskins is batting second, they're not taking the series seriously. If Nola and Wheeler aren't going on 3 days rest, they're not taking the playoffs seriously. The Phillies don't have the 4 aces anymore. They barely have 2 fucking aces because Nola's not an ace. I'll fight any Phillies fan on that till the day I die. He's not an ace. He's just a very good 2 or 3, and that's where that stands. But they have to go on 3 days rest for the Phillies to succeed in the postseason. So Wheeler has to go game 1. If he can't steal game 1, that's fine. Nola has to steal game 2. And those are the crucial ones right there. Steal one from the Braves while they're still rusty, because not playing a game for a week in the postseason means a lot. I mean, we've seen stuff like this. If you're going in hot, that means it's going in hot, and then you got to sit around for a week. That you're ice cold again. So if they can steal a game in Atlanta, the first two, it's Phillies. It's Phillies in 5, in my opinion. But it also wouldn't shock me if the Phillies went in 4 because Bailey Falter has pitched so well. Maybe I have some faith in him to win Game 3. I don't know. I'm going to say Phillies in 5, though, because I do think that they steal one of the first 2 games in Atlanta. That's just my take on that. I think Atlanta's kind of been sitting around for too long. And the season series was only 11-8 in favor of Atlanta, so it wasn't some egregious 14-5 like the Phillies were against the Mets. That's just embarrassing. I'm so glad we don't have to play them. But it is what it is. So let's move on to the AL before I start spazzing out about the Phillies because my blood pressure is getting a little up. Logan, what do you see coming out of the AL here? Mariners series.
Mariners versus Astros. Honestly, I was expecting Game 3 in the wild card round. I thought I turned the game. I didn't mean to turn the game off, but I couldn't pay attention to it yesterday, and I saw that they came back. That's a big momentum push right there. However, the Astros are just the Astros, and one thing
feed at home.
Yeah, the one constant in baseball playoff history is pitching. Honestly,
cheat at home,
and they're going to cheat. And Justin Verlander, the Cy Young Award winner this year, there's no doubt in my mind. Framber Valdez, who's been a really good year this year, and then McCullers Jr. I think that's his name,
Lance McCullers.
Yeah. He's been just lights out also. And honestly, the pitching staff for the Mariners scare me, other than Luis Castillo. But Robbie Ray was not very good in Game 2 yesterday. So I think the Astros go. I think the Astros win in 4 also.
Tim?
I think.
Yeah, I agree with Logan on this one. I think Seattle's maybe squeaks one out and at home in Seattle, obviously. But the Astros have been in the playoffs the last 6-7 years. And they're a good team, unfortunately. They're going to cheat at home, like Ryan said. But that ballpark is hard to hit home runs in. So hard to hit home with this. It's so deep in center field. So give me the Astros in 4.
Yeah. And I'll say this real quick. I'm sorry. But the Mariners should not take this as a losing season. They made it past the Blue Jays, who I honestly thought was going to be a sweep for the Blue Jays. The Mariners, they have nothing to honestly hang their head about. I mean, obviously they didn't win anything other than the wild card series, but they proved that they belong in this playoffs. And next year they're gonna be something. So they're gonna be something that you need to be worried about in the coming years.
Yeah, and old Mo's on their side, old momentum. I mean, I touched on it earlier, is that momentum is huge in playoff baseball. It's who gets hot at the right time. Unfortunately, I do think that the Astros are just that much better than the Mariners. I think they win in 5, though, because the Mariners are a young team. They got a lot of fire on them. This is a team that is hungry to do something. The Astros have 3 starters with ERAs below 3, though. I mean, we're talking about Verlander, who's the AL Cy Young Award winner. We're talking about Framber Valdez, he went, 24 consecutive quality starts at one point in the season. And then Lance McCullers Jr., who came back late in the season, but he's 4-1 with a 1.86 ERA or something like that in the regular season. These are dudes that just dominate, and all of them have playoff experience. They have a very deep bullpen. They just have a lineup that has hit in the playoffs before, with or without the help of external devices. To me, it's the Astros, but I think it's in 5 games. I think the Mariners really make them work for it here. Which leads us to the Yankees and the Guardians. Logan, what do you got?
I honestly, I like the Guardians, and I know Matt Carpenter is coming back for the Yankees, which is going to be a big thing for them. I think it's going to
Somehow.
go. Yeah, it's. I think it's going to go 5. Man, I do like the Guardians though. I like the Yankees, obviously. They're one of my favorite teams, but the Guardians are just really hot right now. And I kind of think that waiting a week, like you said, with the Braves, I think that's going to hurt the Yankees a lot. I think that's going to be one of their crippling factors, although they are going to have their full team back. So I don't know.
Tim?
It's a tough decision. I just think that Yankees lineup is too stacked with Aaron Judge, John Carlos Stanton, Carpenter. There's so many big bats in that lineup for them not to win.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, I'm going to go with Ken Brand here. So Yanks at 5. I can see the Guardians winning though.
Yeah.
I'm going Guardians in 4 here for a couple different reasons. One, yes, offense is nice. We all love offense, but as we've seen outside of the Padres in game 1 and the entire game 2 of the Toronto-Seattle series, pitching wins out. Every game in the Guardians-Rays series was pitching. Every game in the Phillies-Cardinals series was pitching. Every other game in the postseason was pitching. That's how you're going to win games in the postseason. And to me, it all comes down to the usage of Shane Bieber. If the Guardians are willing to roll Shane Bieber out there on 3 days rest game 1, they're going to – that says a lot. That tells me that they're serious. Go get your ace out there against their best. Bieber versus Cole, let him go beat him one-on-one. To me, that's what it really comes down to. I imagine that that's what they'll probably do because Zach Plesac, who I'm assuming was going to be their number 4 starter, has not been particularly good this year. He's actually been really, really, really horrible, existentially horrible. So give me the Guardians in 4, though. They're just a better – they have momentum. This is a team that, stormed the month of September. I think they had like a 1-game lead, or they were even behind in the division going into September, and they absolutely blew the Twins and the White Sox out of the water. And here's a team in the Yankees that damn near allowed the Rays to catch them 3 separate times in the month of September. The Yankees were kind of on coast mode for a long time, and I think that this week off is going to hurt them more than it hurts any other team that's taken a week off. I'm taking the Guardians here simply because this is a team that's been playing competitive baseball at a very high level, while the Yankees just simply have not on any level, hitting, pitching, and the Guardians are a better pitching team. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Guardians here in 4. I think that they really dust the Yankees here and show them show baseball what they're made of. But let's do now that we know the wild card teams, let's do a really early World Series prediction. Who is the World Series winner, Logan, and why?
The winner?
Yep, the winner. Not who they're playing against, just the winner.
Astros.
In
it's gonna be 6 at least.
Okay.
And the reason why is they are just a very complete team. They're hot. I think honestly, after losing Correa, they are just, and they've gone through so much shit in the last 2 years of listening to all these people say, "Oh, the 2017 is a fake World Series. It's crap. It doesn't mean anything." And I think honestly, Altuve, Bregman, and all some of those other guys are just like, you know what? We're a good team. We didn't need to cheat, but we did. We're going to win this World Series. And I think this is going to be their last hurrah because honestly, after this season, I don't see them being this good for a while at least.
Yeah, I can see it too because that team already started to fall apart. Correa went to Minnesota last offseason, so we'll see what becomes this offseason. Plus, Verlander's a free agent after this season too, so maybe he's one and done with the Astros. Tim, who you got very early winning the World Series?
I think I'm gonna take the Dodgers in 7. I
Why?
just think, like you guys said before, that they've been there before. They know what they're going to do. Like Logan said, the whole season for them, if they get preseason and let them get used to the playoffs. Um, it's hard to bet against the Dodgers right now in the playoffs. It's super hard to bet against them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also actually have the Astros. I do not have the Dodgers, despite the fact that they will ultimately be the number 1 seed in the playoffs. I actually think the winner just comes from the AL, whether it's my predicted Guardians beating the Yankees or the Astros coming out of that side. I think truthfully that the AL as a whole was just playing more competitive and better baseball down the stretch than the NL was. I mean, we're looking at a team like the Dodgers who clinched the division back in April. And then we're looking at a team, the Braves that, yes, they played very well in September, but they've been off for a week. And now they have to face a team that has given them a lot of fits in the regular season. And then to speak on that team, the Phillies haven't played particularly well. And then there's just too many questions on the NL side. So I'm going Astros in 6. And then Verlander goes and gets the absolute highest amount of money that we've ever seen an 85-year-old AARP pitcher go and get in the offseason. So that's my take on that. But that will wrap up today's show just because we're going to keep it a little tight tonight. Logan, we will have you back on. But first, do you want to plug yourself up for all of our fans out there?
Yeah, I host the 7th Inning Stretch. We do shows on Mondays and Fridays. Mondays we do typically topics, things that we find interesting about baseball, and then Fridays we do the news. But tomorrow we're going to do probably a recap of the wild card series, what we expect in the DSs, like kind of tonight. And then I also do a Cardinals Chronicles, which is odd because I hate the Cardinals right now. So that's going to be interesting. We do it all on the VSN podcast network, whatever we want to call it, because it's really hard to say. But yeah, you can find me on VSN, on YouTube, Variety Sports Network, and yeah. It'll be interesting on Wednesday because Josh is going to be angry about certain things. He's not going to be angry about Yachty. He's going to be more angry about Jeff Albert, and I'm going to be more angry about Yachty. So it's going to be an argument, and we're going to have to go to marriage counseling yet again.
Hopefully no hockey will be mentioned, but
I'm sure it will be.
Thank you for joining the show, Logan. We appreciate having you on. Like I said, we'll have you on again. I do want to talk about a couple different topics in baseball, more so vent about them because they're really irritating and there are some things going on, but that'll be for a later date. Tim, thanks. I know that this was kind of last minute. I kind of announced it last night with no actual plan to do a show. So here I am holding you to my word. Thank you for watching the show tonight, though. Like, subscribe, share, tune in. We're here, way too many days out of the week because none of us have any lives anyway. So I think we did 4 shows in a row last week. We'll probably do 3 or 4 this week. We'll do 3 or 4 next week. But BSing Sports, that's under the BSing Network. Check us out, www.bsingsports.com. And as Bill always says, but I will take the reins on this time, we do a little BSing and we talk a whole lot of sports. Have a good night.